Hello everybody, this is Chaos World. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about building a chicken house for 5,000 chicken, and we are going to build it with you. Please follow me as we walk around through my forest where we are going to harvest poles and timber to build this house. As you can see, we are walking in a forest and we are trying to locate trees that are good enough for poles and wide enough for timber. We are going to harvest as many poles as we need. Little about this forest. About 12 years back, I bought this piece of land which was very barren, very rocky and very hilly. You could not plant anything. I was told not even to try because nobody had ever planted anything on it because nothing could grow on it. So I sat back and thought, well, let me try something. Let me try some trees. So I went to a tea factory that is quite near my village and I bought 2,000 seedlings of the eucalyptus trees, and I came and I planted them all by myself. I planted each tree 3 meters away from each other. We were actually just measuring with our feet, so we were just taking 3 steps and putting a seedling, 3 steps and putting a seedling, and within one day we had planted the 2,000 seedlings that we had bought. And I just left it. I knew nothing can grow here, so I just left them and hoped that they were going to become trees. I didn't think about them at all, so I just left them. I didn't do anything. I never weeded for them. I never did nothing. I just left them. And then 12 years later today, I want to build a chicken house. And those little seedlings are now a big forest. They're big eucalyptus trees that are more than 50 meters tall. Some are so wide that you can actually not put your hands around them. And some are thin. I don't know why, but they're doing very well. So we are going to get our poles and our timber from this place. We are not going to buy anything. It is my 2,000 seedlings that are going to give us this timber and these poles that we need. So we will start by first felling the trees that we need. No, first of all, we have to locate them and mark them. After that, we are going to get someone who can come and help us. To cut them into the sizes that we need. After that, we are going to get someone else that will come and make the timber for us from the ones that are very thick. So as you can see, we've already cut the poles. After we cut the poles, we have to peel the skin, the bark of the tree. We have to peel it within the first 3 days. Because if we leave it for more than 3 days, it's going to be almost impossible to peel it because it's going to be stuck to the tree. Usually the eucalyptus has a very thin bark, which is actually quite easy to peel out if you do it straight away when it's still green, not yet dry. So we have already cut the trees and we have peeled them and we are collecting them in one place. After that, we are going to treat them with anti-termite. And then after that, we are going to tie the ends with plastic bags so that when we put them down into the soil, they don't get rotten and they don't get eaten by the termites. So like you can see, we've collected them, and then we're going to just go around the forest and look for other trees that we're going to make timber with. So please follow us so that you can see the journey that we are going to take as we build this chicken house. We're building a chicken house for 5,000 chicken layers. 5,000 chicken layers, my friends. That's what we are going to build. And we are going to build it in 3 weeks. You're going to be with us as we build this house. And the first day, we are now collecting the poles. Those are the materials that we are going to start with. And we are not buying them. We are collecting them from our own forest. As you can see, eucalyptus is actually a tree that came to Africa from Australia. It's called the gum tree because it has some resin on the bark that can be used. That's more like a gum. That's why it's called the gum tree. They can grow very tall. They can grow up to 100 meters high. Eucalyptus is the tallest tree in the world. Eucalyptus also has very deep roots. The roots can go up to 2.5 meters or even 3 meters. Unfortunately, they can go so deep that they will reach the water table or an aquifer if it's on a hill, and they can drain it all out. The roots will just suck it all out. They'll suck it out. You wonder how they do it. This is how they do it. The roots go in there. They take that water and they transpirate it through their leaves. So it's actually through transpiration how they suck out this water from the ground. That's how they suck the water table wherever they are. And that's why there has been a lot of talk that they actually dry up rivers. But there's one thing, I think if you only plant one or two, then they might suck that. They might do that damage. But if you plant many of them, they become a forest. This forest actually transpirates that water, and then it comes back as rain. And we have found out that in our forest, the area where we have a forest, we usually get rain, and the other parts around us, our neighbors, don't get rain. The other side of the hill, it's not raining, but our house, our home, it's raining, And so this is one of the positive things about eucalyptus or a forest. It doesn't matter what forest it is. So just by itself being a forest has a lot of positive effects on the neighborhood and in the area. Our forest is a home, it's a sanctuary. Our forest is a home and it's a sanctuary for many, many living organisms. We have a lot of butterflies, we have a lot of insects, we have a lot of birds living there, we have hedgehogs, we have, there's some rocks and there's some snakes there. I'm sorry to say that, but they usually don't come out when there are people around. And there's just a whole, it's just so much wildlife around. And then there are bees, and then so all the people around, they are assured of very good pollination of their crops because of what you find in our forest. And therefore, you find that it's a very rewarding thing to have. As you can see, the floor of the forest is just it's like you've put a carpet of leaves, Then when you're walking, you can actually slide because they're quite slippery. So you can easily just stand on top of the hill and slide down like a slide on those leaves. And these leaves are usually collected by our neighbors. Our neighbors usually come and collect the leaves are usually collected by the neighbors who take them and make very good organic manure with it. They mix it up with their cow dung in a pit and leave it for a while, and becomes a lot of manure. They put it in their coffee farms and in their maize farms, and they're always coming with sacks and collect sacks and sacks of these dried leaves. And we don't mind because they just fall from the trees, and others will come and they'll fall again, and it's okay, it's part of our forest. We want to share it with everybody. Now, it's very nice because our forest comes from the hill and goes down to a river, and this river has never dried. So we are sure that our forest really doesn't dry water like the story goes, because our river, our stream is always flowing. This is a stream that comes directly from Mount Kenya. So, it's always there, and we hope it's always going to be there. When it rains, it becomes a river. When it's dry, it becomes a stream, like anything else, around that side. Anyway, so we are going to continue with this journey of building our house, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it. I really hope that you're going to be inspired, first of all, to try and just plant a few trees. It doesn't matter. You don't have to plant 2,000 trees like me, but you could plant 10 trees. Actually, 10 trees are enough to build a big house. Like, I'll show you the house. It's so big, and if you come to a forest, you can hardly know that we've cut any trees there, because just one tree can produce so much timber. I didn't know that. So, I'm just so happy that I planted this 12 years ago, because today I am using it to build a house and put there 5,000 chicken that are going to give me eggs. And these eggs will be worth millions and millions of shillings. Please stay with us and watch our next video on how to build this house. You'll follow it step by step. You'll be with us every day. From the day we put from harvesting the poles, to putting them on the floor, to baking the floor, to roofing it, and to bringing the chicken from the first day. You're going to be with us. You can also do it. So let's go around and look for the trees. Yes, as you can see, there are many poles. As you can see, there are many branches that are lying on the floor of the forest. These are branches that usually fall off by themselves, usually because of the rain or the wind, and it's just a way of shedding the weak parts of a plant. Just the way they survive. Usually we pick these and we use them like firewood, or we give them to our neighbors, because usually we can have so many. Firewood is actually quite difficult to get today, and we don't have so many people burn charcoal in the villages because people don't really like to cut their trees. So you find that people use firewood. And this is very, very valuable to us. So we usually actually collect it and we give it to our neighbors. Or they come in themselves. We allow them to come into the forest and they can pick them. And we don't mind. We don't mind neighbors coming in to pick the leaves on the floor and the branches that are fallen. And we usually, if there's any vegetation, which is usually very, very little, they can pick it up for their cows, and we don't mind, as far as they don't really touch our trees, we don't mind. And they respect our trees, they understand that. And we don't even have to discuss, they just understand, and they know the limits of what they should and should not do. And we really appreciate that. So one of the good things with the eucalyptus tree is that once you cut it down, comes out again by itself. So you never have to plant new trees. After 5 years, you'll have the same tree again. and again and again, I mean, this is the most wonderful tree, I can say. A forest that you can deforestate, and it forestates. I mean, what else do you want? So after 5 years, all the trees that I've cut, I can cut them again and build another house. So you can imagine, I mean, this is really so good, so good. I didn't know that this was such a good investment when I was doing it until now. I thank God that I did it. So please, I hope that if you're inspired by this and you have a piece of land just lying idle, plant trees. They don't have to be eucalyptus. They could be anything, any other tree. They could be apple trees, they could be avocado trees, they could be macadamia trees, they could be any trees that you don't need to take so much care of, and especially if you're not around to take care of those things. Most of the people, for example, who live abroad are not able to come back and check on their coffee or check on their tea and check on their maize and check on their beans, and I think it's quite expensive if you had to do that. But if you have a small piece of land in the countryside, plant just 10 trees. 10 trees of whatever, and just leave them and go. When you come back after 2-3 years, you see your tree growing, and you'll be happy that you have some investment back home that doesn't really give you a headache, because most of the other things will really give you a headache. Anyway, I hope you've been inspired by this video. I hope that you like it. I hope that you subscribe and keep on watching our videos, because you are going to love them. I hope you like it. Please watch the next video to see how we are going to build this house. Don't miss. Thank you. Bye.